Greetings, welcome back to Black Bear News, where we're discussing climate change, abrupt climate change, things adjacent. And if you are tuning in, you might be smarter than the average bear. Hey, boo-boo bear. There's another story out of Brazil. This has been going on in other parts of the world. How many experiments are going on now? Just to piggyback on yesterday's video. I mean, how many things are being done that we are not even aware of? Just look at the past record, right? You know, the idea that, everybody just stopped experimenting and, oh, no, we don't do that anymore. Just completely and utterly naive. Anyways. Oh, we'd never do that. Oh, no. How many experiments gone wrong does it take to tip the planet into complete system shutdown? I read an article long ago saying that GM crops could likely bring on an extinction event, that changing the cellular structure of plants could catalyze a complete breakdown in the function and reproduction of plants. And yet we continue. The mad scientists continue their march to the marching orders of money. And this article is from September 11th, 2019. GM mosquitoes spreading out of control in Brazil. The yellow fever mosquitoes are genetically engineered to make it impossible for their offspring to survive. After release, they are supposed to mate with female mosquitoes of the species which transmit infectious diseases such as dengue fever to diminish the natural populations. And they're doing this in Florida as well. I can only imagine they're doing it in other places. However, the new published research shows that many offspring of the genetically engineered mosquitoes actually survived and are spreading and propagating further. According to the scientists, between 10 and 60% of the mosquitoes in the region concerned are inheriting parts of the genome of the mosquitoes released in the trials. These findings are also confirmed in neighboring regions where no such trials are conducted. The long-term consequences for the transmission of diseases, the number of insects, and the interactions with the environment cannot be predicted. Unless you do testing on it. In a controlled area, not just in the wild. The mosquitoes used for genetic manipulation are originally from Cuba and Mexico. These insects used in the laboratory have now mixed with Brazilian insects to become a robust population that can persist in the environment over a longer period of time. They might replace the original insects in the long term and even enhance the problems associated with the mosquitoes. Christoph Ten for the Test Biotech commented, the Oxitec trials have led to a situation that is largely out of control. The company has released its patented insects, although it was known before that some insects could survive in the environment. The expectations of their investors were more important than the protection of health and the environment. There was no insurance and no fast-track mechanism to prevent severe damage in a worst-case scenario. The incident must have consequences for further applications of genetic engineering. Preventing the spread of genetically engineered organisms within natural populations has to become a priority. Oxitec, which I guess is the company that did this, misled the public and regulators regarding the GM mosquitoes, which it falsely described as self-limiting. It obtained funding from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to develop the GM insects. A new paper also reminds us that Oxitec's strategy to reduce the population of mosquitoes did not work. It cites previous research as showing that the effectiveness of the release program began to break down after about 18 months. The population, which had been suppressed, rebounded to nearly pre-release levels. Several research institutions players are planning to create genetically engineered trees, bees, corals, several insect species, and other organisms that can spread in natural populations. The long-term impacts of such trials are unpredictable. No duh. Unintended effects can disturb or disrupt ecosystems and lead to the extinction of species. Therefore, Test Biotech is proposing to introduce new criteria for the risk assessment of genetically engineered organisms to make sure they can be prevented from spreading uncontrolled into the environment. Alrighty. Anyways, I'll link this below. And a few, maybe it was a week or two ago, I referred to humans as locusts overrunning the earth, and somebody sent me a video. I'm not going to play any of the video, but basically describing what happens when locusts run out of food. What happens is they eat each other. If that's not frightening enough. And lastly, in this video, I wanted to read another installment of Marty McCorkle in the comment section. When the last trees were getting the stone axe on Easter Island, their version of Extinction Rebellion was probably protesting against a treeless future. Of course, they got the boot by fellow Eastern Islanders so that progress on the island could continue treelessly. Don't worry, the majority may have said. We have huts and canoes made of our renewable resource, wood. After time without trees, their remaining wood rotted away or burned. Eastern Islanders tussled over beach driftwood, and not a playful tussle because brainings with a rock isn't playful, usually. Later, as dog meat ran out and wooden fishing boats were long gone, the island became somewhat unpleasant. I'm reminded of Easter Island's last trees protesters by that video of XR protesters getting yanked from the roof of a commuter train by members of the crowd on the train platform. Waiting commuters soon boarded the de-protestered train, and business as usual continues, at least for now. Don't worry about ecological overshoot, said the current and temporary ruling class. We have windmills and solar panels, our renewable resource, but fossil fuels are needed to manufacture or run and dispose of this quick fix. So actual sacrifices will have to be made if some sort of not all dead future is desired. We have tons more info on collapse than Easter Islanders did, but we also have way more fairy tales repeated daily and believed fervently. One fairy tale is that personal sacrifice matters, while its twin sister fairy tale is that personal sacrifice does not matter. No, you can't change the world on your own, but personal example is better than 10 million words from openly public hypocrites. George Washington didn't go to a ball game with old King George. Gandhi didn't take a train to get to the end of his famous Salt March. They walked their walk, very imperfectly, but they were not losers. A certain XR member was reported to be seriously considering sacrificing one of his many ski trips to Switzerland, while another jets from UK to Central America to chillax. Are they walking the walk imperfectly, or are they just losers? Contrary to the prevailing opinion, we are in 21st century, the dead-end wall where all those kicked cans pile up in an eerie silence, those various cans of ecological overshoot that have been expertly kicked all the way from the distant 1970s. This century is our Easter Island test. We're in a fix, so let's see if we can be smarter than the average bear. Leaders who refuse to walk the walk may receive the kicks previously set aside for those now unkickable cans. Even a 3-ton delivery of them can't feed or clothe people in a collapsing biosphere. Free bonus. Pro tip for 21st century, no matter how imperfectly you pull it off, walk the walk. And with that, I will leave you for today. Thank you so much for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. If you would like to support this channel, you can do so at the links below. Until next time, peace.